Hello, everyone. My name is Jaybird, and welcome back to AIRIS. Without any further ado, let's get right back to where we left off last time. So, you said you wanted to talk. This morning? Yes, right. I did. I wait for Everett to continue, but she doesn't, merely busying herself by sipping her tea while avoiding my eyes. The tension in the air is so palpable that I find myself wincing from the awkward atmosphere. I have forgiven Ever for her lies, since it is true that I wouldn't have understood anyway, even if she had tried earlier, and I've nearly come to terms with Ever being, well, not Evera. Still, less than 24 hours after we've agreed to a truce and to work together, things have gotten awkward between us for some reason. There's an invisible distance between us that never used to be there before all this happened, and although we are at least getting along and not descending into chaotic arguments, our conversation is stilted and stiff. Maybe that's the problem. Half of my conversations with Ever involves bickering and bantering of some sort. This morning, Ever is so overly civil and polite to me that it heightens the distance between us. What did you want to talk to me about? Ever starts at my prompt, her hand jerking and causing the tea to almost spill out of her cup. She sets the cup of tea down on the table with a small laugh. Right, sorry, I got lost in thought. Listen, Alia, before anything else, I want to talk about, me borrowing Ever's body. Ever clearly notices the way my face closes off at the mention of the forbidden topic that I don't want to think about, and she winces, hurrying on. No, I know you're still upset about it, and you have every right to be. I know what I'm doing is awful, and... She sucks in a deep breath and suddenly grabs my hands, peering into my eyes with a sincere look. I just want to make a promise to you. I will only log on when it's necessary, so as to give Evelyn her body back as much as possible. Meanwhile, I will keep attempting to look into the connection between our realms and see if I can find a way to free the guild from the players. Even if I cannot do so, I promise that as soon as I find a resolution to this bizarre situation, I will never come back and steal Evera's body and life away from her again. I promise you that. I want to tear my eyes away from Evera's, but I can't. Trapped by her intense gaze full of guilt, sorrow, and determination, a strange pain blossoms in my chest, and I find myself unable to speak. How should I react to Evera's promise? Can I trust her to keep it? Do I even want her to keep it? Fuck. I'm gonna change the subject because she already promised to do it, so. Giving my head a slight shake, I forcefully push the inexplicable sorrow and doubt aside. I don't want to think too much about it because part of me is scared of what I'd realize if I do. Instead, I decide to, once again, take the cowardly way out, pulling my hands from her grasp and changing the subject, not too subtly. Yes, right. Well, we should probably discuss what you found this week while you were doing your investigation. You mentioned some findings yesterday in the dungeon. Do you have anything more to add to it? Evera's eyes narrow at me, her lips pursed, probably in indecision about whether to call me out on my avoidance or not. After a moment, a small smile begins to tug at the corner of her lips, and she lets out a sigh before choosing not to comment. Not much. I've pretty much told you everything I found, at least the non-technical bits that I can explain to you. Though I think I've told you this before, but it appears that, as far as I know, at least, none of the other players are aware of AIRIS being real. I talked to some of my friends who also play the game, as well as made a post on the game forums. Nobody seems to have any clue. At least if anyone does, they're certainly keeping silent about it. My brows furrow in both confusion and disbelief, and I let out a small bark of laughter. How is that possible? Certainly you can't be the only one out of all the players to realize this. To be fair, only limited copies of the game are sold, probably because there are only limited characters that we can choose as our own. With this highly expensive and exclusive nature of the game, the player base isn't very large. A few thousand, perhaps? Yes, but still, how can they not realize that this supposed fake world they jump into for fun is not so fake? Evra pauses to think, her brows knitting together in concentration. I can't speak today, guys. I can't speak today. I've had a bad day. I can't speak. So yeah, there you go. Well, perception is a funny thing. Before I got curious and tried to hack into the game, I never suspected anything either. We're so used to believing that we know everything. When we're told that all the strange, almost inexplicable happenings in the game are merely part of the game's design, a gimmick to attract players, we accept it easily because that is easier to believe than the idea that AIRIS is a real world. We explain away everything that can hardly be explained as mere glitches or bugs, because it's easier to shape, mold, and fit what we see in front of our eyes into a frame of what we already know than to have our view be challenged. As soon as I began to suspect AIRIS is a real universe and started to mingle with the AIs that I previously avoided, everything becomes clear. It's amazing how many little red flags throughout my years of playing this game that I've just dismissed as just glitches or gimmicks. I can only raise an eyebrow at her, half perplexed by her almost philosophical rambling. Okay, I guess I can just conclude that Earthlings are stupid like you then. Evra blinks at me for a split second before realizing I'm teasing, and then she tosses the cushion at me with an affronted grin. Hey! What did you just call me? I'll have you know that I was considered a child prodigy. I graduated from college early and got a job offer at NASA immediately. I work on rockets all day. You know none of that makes any sense to me, right? To me, you're still the stupid, scatterbrained, impulsive Evra. Evra pretends to huff in anger, but she can't hide the slight blush spreading across her cheeks and the grin spreading from ear to ear. That's not fair! I was only scatterbrained because while Evra retains memories of when I'm online, it doesn't work the other way around. How am I supposed to know what you told Evra while I was asleep? Yeah, excuses. We grin at each other in amusement, and just like that, the ice wall between us melts. At this moment, all I care about is that this Evra in front of me is the girl I've grown close to over the last couple of years, the one who always teases and makes fun of me but cries and sings to me when I'm injured. Unfortunately, the light atmosphere doesn't last very long, and Evra's smile soon fades into a solemn expression. Oh shit. Spooky. One more thing. Until I find out more information on what the hell is going on with our worlds, can you please not do anything rash and crazy like, I don't know, sneaking into the palace to spy on the king? Well, I couldn't just sit around and do nothing. I had to do something. That something does not entail angering the king and getting yourself thrown into the dungeons. I fold my arms across my chest, glaring at Evra in defiance. Why not? The king is the only one who knows everything that's going on. It's the most direct way to get the answers we seek. I may not be able to achieve anything when I tried, but the memory of the king's words about exercising caution when it comes to the guild pops into my head, along with the beginnings of a brilliant idea. Nibbling on my lip, I tried to put together the stray pieces of thought into a coherent proposal. Evra, what if... What if we get the rest of the guild involved? We both know how the king reveres the power of the guild despite pretending he doesn't. Maybe if we all... Ever suddenly interrupts me in a loud voice, panic etched into her features. Alia, what are you saying? Are you trying to start a riot or something? A civil war? Hesitating, I stutter out a response. That's not exactly what I meant. That's what's going to happen if we go with your idea. Alia, we need to keep this on the down low until I have a greater grasp on this. Greater gasp? Greater grasp on this. Why does it say gasp? Greater grasp on the situation, or else you and I can find ourselves in danger. Besides, we can't even tell the guild. They won't understand the situation because of the mental block placed upon their minds, remember? Despite the logic in Evra's words, the idea of keeping something so major from the rest of the guild doesn't sit right with me. Having only recently discovered the truth myself, I know how horrible it is to be kept in the dark, how shocking it is when the awful truth is revealed. I don't want to do the same to the rest of my guild. You don't know that. We don't know how many people may be secretly experiencing blackouts and were just too concerned to say anything, just like I was. Before I overheard you muttering to yourself, you didn't know about my filter feeling either. I'm just gonna save it right here, just in case. We should try. What's the harm? If they really can't understand, they'll just perceive it as a particularly weird and random conversation among guildmates. That's all. Alia, please, don't do anything rash. You need to just... What's going on here? Oh, I heard raised voices. Is everything okay? Both of us clam up immediately at the sound of Lyle's voice, and we roll around to find Lyle pushing open my door, a concerned expression on their face. Did you not lock the door after you came in? Aren't you supposed to do that? This is your house. Alia? Evero? Are you two arguing again? Evero shoots me a warning glare, probably to tell me to let her handle this, and then she puts on a smile that would have fooled even me. Nothing. It was just a minor disagreement. Didn't sound like nothing. You two were really going at it. I kind of forgot his voice. Or their voice. What were you guys fighting about? Ever sends me a panicked look, a silent request for help. Flustered, I fiddle with a stray strand of fiber from my sleeve while looking at everywhere except Lyle's eyes. Nothing. We were just talking about going back to the Caves of Spirits to finish that quest we never completed because I got hurt. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, she's right. I told her she shouldn't be so rash and rushed into the dungeon like that, considering what happened last time. Alia's a stubborn idiot, though, so we were just arguing about it. Evero lets out such a fake laugh that I almost roll my eyes, and we both bob our heads up and down at Lyle, hoping they would fall for our lie. Lyle looks between us for a moment, frowning in confusion. Are you certain that's it? Of course! She shoots me an expectant look out of the corner of her eyes, urging me to back her up, but I hesitate. Why am I lying to Lyle? Wasn't I just telling Evra that we shouldn't lie to anyone else, and we should at least try to see if their filter is weakening, just like mine did? Who else is better than Lyle to test this on, especially since they had mentioned that they had the same experience of blackouts before? Oh my god. Oh, never mind. I thought we had to actually do something. Never mind. Actually, no, we were lying. Alia, what are you doing? Ignoring Everest's angry hiss, I step forward, staring into Lyle's eyes so that they can see my honesty. We were actually arguing about whether we should tell the rest of the guild about the players in the MMORPG that our world of AIRIS has apparently been turned into. Damn it, Alia, what did I just say? I watch Lyle's face carefully for any sign of understanding, and the shock that enters Lyle's eyes is all the answer I need. I can only smile in grim satisfaction as Lyle trips over their tongue when they try to respond before I cut them off. So you do understand. You do know too. Who told you? Lyle's eyes dart away from mine and their lower lip disappears between their teeth. No one. I just started piecing things together myself after I began to witness stranger and stranger things. And I did some digging around. I barely know anything, honestly. So you know this Evra is currently a player, right? You can see the glowing again. You can see the glowing gem. A small nod from Lyle, and I pretend not to hear Evra's quiet gasp of surprise. I can't talk today. I'm sorry. We can tell you everything else that we know if you want. We've been doing some investigation of our own. No, wait, Alia. Evra's right. Surprised by Lyle's interjection, I pause. What? You shouldn't tell anyone about this. Definitely not the guild. Not even me. Why? It's you. You're our best friend. We trust you. Lyle begins shaking their head before I can even finish my sentence, taking a few steps backwards and kicking my door shut with a slam that causes both Evra and me to jump. Be careful what you say. Who you say it to and when you say it. Walls have ears. Confused by Lyle's panicked expression and their shifty gaze, I share a baffled glance with Evra. I don't understand. You don't have to understand. Just listen to Evra. Don't do anything rash. Don't say anything about what you know. Keep it on the down low. Although Evra's brows are still furrowed in confusion at Lyle's strange attitude, she begins to nod in agreement, shooting me a triumphant look. See? Even Lyle agrees with me. Alia, do you understand what we're saying? It's very important that you understand where we're coming from and agree. Ah, are they right? Is it really better to wait before making our move? Is it really the right thing to do? Doesn't matter. I'm outvoted anyways. No, but I'm outvoted. Yes. I'm just gonna go with yes. It's the best decision. Despite my reluctance, I have to admit that Lyle's worries may not be unfounded. Judging by the lengths the realms have gone to keep the guild members in the dark, it may not be entirely far-fetched for something to happen to us if they caught wind of our knowledge and plans. Maybe it is safer to keep it quiet for now. With a sigh, I raise my hands in defeat, collapsing onto the couch. All right, I understand. I won't do anything for now. Not for forever. I refuse to lie to my friends in the guild for the rest of my life. It won't come to that. The determination and conviction on Evra's face failed to comfort me, and I rub my face in exhaustion. I sure hope not. Suddenly hit by a wave of frustration and restlessness, I find myself wanting to get away from the lies and truth and plans and conspiracies. I leap to my feet, and I'm halfway across the house and at my door before Evra and Lyle seem to notice that I intend to leave. Wait, Alia, where are you going? Out. I need some air. Alia! I don't need to turn around to know Lyle is gently restraining Evra by the arm to prevent her from going after me. No, let her go. Lyle, we can't just let her go. Aren't you worried about her? Leaving behind my two best friends arguing with each other, I rush out of my house and begin to run, wanting to run as far away as possible. Whoa. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of AIRIS. If you did, leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, ring that notification bell, and remember, die safely. Bye-bye!